blades of the ramble, cheering out from the channel, showing love from every angle.
What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to Behind the Ramble. Apologies, my voice is gone pretty much completely now, but I think I'm on the mend. My cough isn't as bad as it has been, so fingers crossed. We're on the mend and everything's looking well. So I appreciate this is a bit of a random one, and it's a very serious title, and I don't mean for it to be necessarily. It's just I've been sat here thinking, I've been working through all my Ramble stuff, and this is where you pull the curtain back on what's really going on and how things work and the mechanics behind the scenes and things like that. So we are on tonight for the warm-up at 7 o'clock, so we're getting ready for West Brom. Obviously, people were quite down about the result yesterday, understandably so. It's the first time we've lost, and it's not a nice feeling, is it? But it sort of had me reflecting, and some people have got a little bit down in the dumps. Obviously, it's been Christmas time as well, and it's not as joyous a period for everybody as it is for others. So I wanted to sort of share something a little bit. I have touched on it very briefly in the past, just to let people know that they're not on their own, really. So it's not going to be a really deep one or anything like that necessarily. So I don't want people to think, oh no, it's just going to be another downer of a video. But I always want to be authentic with you and let you know exactly what's going on in my life, really, so that you feel like if you're going through anything similar, really, you're not on your own. So for those of you that haven't watched the Ramble for a little while, or haven't been with us very long, you may or may not know the story about why I started. And a lot of it had to do with finding a bit of a purpose, really, in terms of, I love Sheffield United. I love talking football. Me and my dad have always talked football in depth. He's got a professional background in the game. I've flirted with the professional side of the game as well. I had 4 years scouting professionally in the EFL. My dad's been a Premier League scout for 20 plus years, so retired now. But so football has always been at the core. We've always been big Blades. Couldn't always get to games an awful lot as I was growing up because my dad's scouting here, there, and everywhere. So it's been different because I live over in West Yorkshire as well. My mum sadly passed away 2.5 years ago now. I can't believe it's been that long. Which left a huge hole in my life. And it's something I still struggle to come to terms with today. And not only that, but I've always been quite an anxious person as well. So it may not come across on stream, but I can be quite socially awkward at times. And there's other things like that. And the one thing, I've tried everything. I've tried medication. I've tried powering through, if you like, and trying to man up and just get your head down and carry on. The one thing I've avoided is therapy because I didn't think I was strong enough to take it on, really. So I've been off work a little bit recently, a little while, because I was just getting quite overwhelmed with, and it's not something I'm proud of, but I feel it's been necessary that I focus on my personal recovery. And the Ramble has sort of pulled me through that. And going back to my mum, that's what got me through a really difficult time, coming on and talking about Sheffield United. And it's just a little bit of escapism, I suppose, in terms of something that I can focus on and sort of not be caught in my thoughts, if you like. So for a long time, I didn't want to consider therapy because I was too busy trying to distract myself from the problems that I had rather than tackle them. And as I've been off work, I've spoken to work about how I can get better and things like that, and what support they can offer me. And I knew about all these things because I'm a manager at work, so I know what's available. But I always actively avoided therapy because I didn't want to talk about it with anybody. Because I was sort of scared as to, once I open that Pandora's box, if you like, am I going to go down, down, down? Well, I tried it briefly. That is worth saying, after about 6 months, and it made me worse. It made me worse talking about my mum and talking about other things that made me anxious and things, and I just wasn't at the right balance. And whatever I say, again, I'm going to remind people that this is just my story. It might not work for you. You might not feel like you're in a place where you're ready to do this. Again, it's good to have a channel where I can come on and just talk openly about, real things as well. And as I say, I don't want it to be too deep, so I am okay, as you can tell, other than my voice. So as part of my wanting to get back to work, which is something I'm actively working on because I hate being off. I feel like I'm letting my team down and stuff. But I also recognise I have to be right to be able to do a good job and look after the people at work that I need to look after. So there's a couple of elements to it. I've decided to tackle therapy head on. So for the past 8 weeks, I've been seeing a therapist only over the phone because that was my choice. I think in person it can be quite a big step, but it has been honestly one of the best decisions I have ever made. And there were different types. There's cognitive behavioral therapy, which you may or not be aware of. It wasn't that type of therapy for me. It was how I frame things in my own mind and how I try to how I can look at different challenges in front of me and look at different issues that are raised and how I can compartmentalize them or deal with them in a different way. So again, I don't really know the main purpose for me jumping on and talking to you about it really, but I always want to sort of share, I suppose, my vulnerabilities in a way, because I'm not shy about doing that. And I think now that there's a little bit of a platform for me to do so, I think it's right that you let people know that some of these things that are there to support you aren't as scary as you think they may be. I'm very fortunate that I've got a very supportive family around me, and I know not everybody has. My wife's been brilliant. My dad and my brother and everybody, my auntie, everyone around me has been as supportive as they can be. But sometimes they just don't know what to say to you, and that's natural and that's unfortunate for everybody involved. But that then makes you reluctant to share with them because you don't want to worry them. Whereas a therapist, I didn't even know what she looked like. She didn't know what I looked like. So there's no judgment going on there. You can just have a confidential but supportive conversation. So if anybody is of that thought process that you may be struggling in some form or fashion, there are people out there that will talk. And I cannot tell you how much I was dreading going into the system, if you like, or sort of bearing my soul to somebody. It wasn't even like that. It was just about what's getting me down, what obstacles are in my way, what makes me anxious, and why is that making me anxious, and what can I do to offset that? Well, sometimes it might need a complete change. It might need a complete change of direction. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on it. As I say, nothing too deep today. I'm not going to go on a much more of a monologue. I can ramble on with the best of them. But again, we're a really supportive community, and it's not just me that, the WhatsApp groups and everything that support the channel. We all support each other, and I want people to know that they're not on their own. And if you are struggling at all, you can always reach out to me. My direct messages are always open, but please don't rule anything out if you haven't tried it. Don't have a preconceived idea of it. And if you've tried it and it's not for you, then that's fair enough, and that's absolutely fine. But people are willing to help you, and you're never alone in whatever it is that you're dealing with. So thank you for watching. As I say, I've still not got an end to this. I've actually got some comments I didn't expect. I didn't really advertise it, so it was just a sort of a last minute thing. Let's see what people are saying before I jump off. So Paul Young, Cowboy Paul Young, text, mental health is such a weakness in men, especially my age group. It was always boys don't cry or man up or stiff up a lip. When you say it's a weakness in men, I know exactly what you mean. You don't mean it's weak to speak about mental health. What you mean is it's an Achilles heel for men, isn't it? Where we can't always talk openly about it, or there's such a stigma around it. And I think over the last 5 years or so, we've really made progress in that department, haven't we? Where we can now openly talk about it. James says, "Hi mate, been a rambler for some time now." Thank you, pal. Don't usually get too involved because of being socially awkward. I agree about therapy makes you feel worse and overthink. Love the community here, up the blades. Well, that was my initial impression when I first tried. I clearly wasn't ready for it. But I've had a really positive experience now. And granted, it's 2 years on from the most traumatic thing that's happened to me, which is my mum's passing. So I needed that time before I was ready. But there's also a lot of other anxieties and nervousness and things like that comes along with stuff that I get worried about and het up about. And that might not be blatantly obvious because you see me on screen, which don't feel real sometimes. But what I'm saying is, don't, just because you've had one bad experience, James, please don't rule it out completely. And again, it may not be for you, and I wouldn't say you need to go back or anything like that. So anyway, thank you for your comment, pal, and thank you for the support. Jack says, as someone who works in a very stressful industry and which is really negative, dealing with young adults' behaviors and trauma, so I know about making sure you're okay before going back. I've also been through therapy. It's good, and you'll be able to find which one fits you best. A therapist is an outside party who doesn't know you, who will support you. Proud of you, Jimmy. Thank you, Jack. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's that's right. That's right. And I suppose it's a little bit about just breaking the stigma into it, about, you know, it doesn't have to be super formal. It doesn't have to be a long process. Mine was an 8-week course. I could have cut it any time that I didn't want to do it. It was very on my terms. They made me feel very comfortable. And as I say, if that helps anybody in any small way, then it's worth me jumping on for 5-10 minutes just to talk about it, isn't it? So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. As I say, it doesn't have to be War and Peace, but I think it's an important thing to talk about, and it's worked for me. I'm not quite there yet, and I would like to get a little bit more help now that that course has ended. But anyway, that's by the by. Jack also says you can extend your course if you feel you aren't ready. Oh, that's good to know as well. That's good to know. But thank you everybody for joining me today, and thank you to anybody that watches this. I'm always here if you need anything. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. It just feels a little bit out of kilter, but I don't know how else to end it. All the blame.